Sean from Fanboy Force here, back with another weekly haul video. This one is going to be 2 weeks worth of comics because due to the responsibilities of the real world, I wasn't able to do a haul video for last week. So we're going to briefly go over what I've been reading and picking up for the last 2 weeks. We'll start off with Guardians of the Galaxy number 5. This has been consistently a great title, and if you're not reading it, you should pick it up and pick up the previous 4 issues. Think Avengers meets Star Wars, and you've got a pretty good idea of what this series is all about. Plus, this issue features the official introduction of Angela from the Spawn series into the Marvel Universe, thanks to a handy-dandy rip in space-time continuum due to the events of Age of Ultron. Next up, we have X-Men number 3, another really good title that has been impressing me since number 1. And this one features mostly an all-female X-Men team, which is the first time I think that that's happened. But nevertheless, awesome storyline so far. Moving along kind of slowly, but it's making its way to some interesting stuff. Next up, FF number 10. Also, pretty decent stuff so far. It's sister book Fantastic Four and FF tie in and cross over quite a bit, so definitely also be picking up Fantastic Four. Next up, we have Hunger, number 2. A second in a 4-issue limited series all about Galactus. And Galactus coming to the Ultimate Universe to, well, eat it, pretty much. So, this is a cool miniseries, and I love Galactus, obviously. So, yeah, I'm excited for that. Next up, we're going on to Superior Spider-Man number 15, which this title has been growing on me in the last few months. Ever since Peter Parker has exited Otto Octavius' mind, and Otto is now the Superior Spider-Man. Overall, it's a pretty good title. I definitely want to see where it's headed, so I've been reading it. We have Superior Foes of Spider-Man number 2. I read the first issue, and it was really funny. It was much better than I expected. This issue doesn't disappoint. It's more of the same. It's pretty funny, and it shows the interactions between the new Sinister Six, or Sinister Five. It's kind of like a sitcom with supervillains, and it's really, really good. It's worth reading. Next up, we got Deadpool Kills Deadpool number 2. Again, this is a hilarious title. The first issue was really, really good, and this issue picks up right where the last one left off, and it's also really funny, and it is definitely worth picking up, especially if you're a Deadpool fan. You cannot miss this limited series. I think there's 4 issues going to happen in this, and this is number 2, and it came out this week. So definitely, if you like Deadpool and you like chimichangas, check that out. It's good stuff. On to Avengers number 17, which is a prelude to the Infinity crossover. That's happening this summer, and that's going to involve Thanos and a bunch of stuff happening there. So I haven't read this issue yet. I'm looking forward to it. I've been collecting all the prelude issues, just kind of keep up to date on what's going to be developing for the miniseries coming out very, very soon. My last Marvel Universe title is Avengers AI number 2, which is spinning off directly from the events of Age of Ultron. And if you're a fan of Age of Ultron or want to keep up with what's going on in that particular universe, then this series is not to be missed. It's pretty decent. I'm kind of iffy about the whole Age of Ultron just because I wasn't a super huge fan of how that miniseries ended. But it's piqued my curiosity enough to keep reading and to keep picking up the books. This is the highly anticipated Kick-Ass 3 number 2, which with Kick-Ass 2 hitting theaters, the movie hitting theaters this summer, this series is hot, and it's been flying off the stands. And Mark Millar, however you want to pronounce that, and John Romita, they do not disappoint with any of their Kick-Ass tie-ins or the Kick-Ass miniseries themselves. It's violent, it's funny, it's twisted, it's a good read, and it's definitely not to be missed as well. On to some DC stuff. Last week's books included some pretty interesting stuff, including annuals, and we'll go over those here in a second. But first up is Batman Incorporated number 13, which is the final issue, I believe, of this run of the series, and it's also the conclusion of the giant battle that's been happening between Talia al Ghul and Batman. It has kind of a surprising ending to it, and definitely worth reading, especially if you've been following this stuff. You can't miss this issue, because it's closing out the current arc, opening up a new arc, and it's a great read. Lots of fun. Directly tying into the Trinity War happening in the DCU right now is Pandora #2, which this character is growing on me quite a bit, and this series is going to be pretty cool. I don't know if this is going to be an ongoing or if it's just a limited thing due to the Trinity War, but I kind of hope this character sticks around. Pandora's pretty cool, and I just like the concept behind this. The first issue was pretty good. It was way better than I expected it to be, and this issue just picks up on that and keeps going. So I have missed out on Justice League Dark #22 because my local comic shop, Iguana Comics, got a damaged shipment of books in from Diamond, and they had to return them. So I'm still waiting for the replacements to come in to be able to read that. So I'm kind of behind on the Trinity War thing. So I'm holding off reading any Trinity War tie-in stuff until I get my replacement books in, which should hopefully be next week. So if that happens, I'll be giving you guys a fill-in on what's been going on with Trinity War and my review of it in next week's haul video. Hopefully, knock on wood. So next up is Superboy #22. I'm new to the Superboy title. Traditionally, I have not been a fan of Superboy. I think the character in the past has been kind of cheesy, but the New 52, as I've stated before over and over in my videos, has kind of won me over. And so I'm stretching out and trying to expand my reading with their characters. So I enjoyed this book. It was fun. I don't really know what's going on in the continuity because I haven't read the back issues yet. But, you know, I think I'll probably keep picking up Superboy for a little bit and see if I like it. I like Superman, and I like Supergirl, and I like action comics. So, you know, Superboy is just a natural no-brainer to pick up. Beverage break. My favorite of the annuals this year was, hands down, Batman Annual #2. Ties into Zero Year, and if you've been following the Batman book at all, and if you're not following the Batman book, you really should be, because Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo are kind of reinventing the origin myth of the Batman, and it's going to be stretched over a series of issues, and it's really, really cool, and it totally fits the New 52. I'm really, really digging it. And this annual ties into it and does not disappoint at all, and it's worth picking up if you read Batman at all. A lot of times annuals are just kind of fillers with standalone stories or a series of standalone stories, but what I like about the DCU New 52 annuals this year is they all are kind of either building up to a story arc that's coming up in the core books with some backup stories, or they're directly tied into what's happening right now in the comics, which that's pretty cool. It almost makes it like you have to pick up the annuals to keep it going. And for once, annuals aren't just throwaway issues, they're actually part of the continuity. Another annual is Superman Annual #2, which came out last week. The story in this is a direct result of Brainiac's attack on Metropolis, trying to preserve the civilization in his bottled cities, and it had a lasting effect on some characters in the city, and Lois Lane is drawn into an investigation to kind of find out the mystery behind these characters that were presumed dead but are all of a sudden popping up all over the place, and in the process becomes one of them. So it's going to lead into an arc that's happening in Superman called Psy-War, and this is pretty much the prelude to it. And if you read the Superman books and want to be filled in on that, you should not miss this. It's pretty good. Like I said, with a lot of these books, it's a lot better than I expected it to be. Like I said, annuals are usually throwaway. This one's not. It's leading directly up to the next story arc in Superman. My last annual from DC is The Flash, Annual #2, which details Barry Allen and Hal Jordan's first meeting. And this one's pretty good too. I really like the relationship between The Flash and Green Lantern. I like how it's funny, and they're just kind of buddies, and they're both kind of youthful and smarmy, you know, and I really, really enjoyed the writing on it. It was fun. It was a fun read. If you follow Flash, I'm sure you're going to pick it up anyway, but it's a good book. I mean, again, better than I expected. So this week we had Superman Action Comics number 23, which I haven't read yet, and I've been following Action only for about 6 months now because, like I said, I've just delved head first into the New 52 and started buying just about everything that's coming out. So I haven't read this. I did read the last couple issues before it, so I'm excited to read this. The art in this book is spectacular. It's good Superman art, and I really, really like it, and it's really hooked me in. Next up, Gail Simone's The Movement number 4, another title that isn't for everybody. I don't know if it's selling as well as it probably should be, but Gail Simone is a hell of a writer, and this series is shaping up to be something different outside of the normal superhero type of stuff, but definitely worth reading, definitely worth picking up. If you're just jumping into it now and you're curious, if you like her writing on Batgirl, you should be reading The Movement. And if you're jumping into it now, there's 3 issues prior to this, obviously. You can probably still get from your local comic shop, or you can wait another couple months till the trade comes out with numbers 1 through 6. Either way, you shouldn't miss it. It's really good, and I can't promote it enough. Next up, The Phantom Stranger number 11, another Trinity War tie-in. As I stated before, I'm not reading any of the Trinity War tie-ins until I get my replacement book, so I haven't read this yet. And we have Green Lantern number 23 next, and I've been skeptical since Jeff Johns left the book, but I'm going to give it a try and see if I want to stick with it. I'm sure I will, because it's Green Lantern, and who doesn't like Green Lantern, really, you know? And next up is a book that comes out semi-irregularly, Amikami Girls number 6, which I heard number 8, I think, is going to be the last issue of the series, but this is kind of cool. It's kind of DC characters reimagined in kind of an anime sort of motif, and it's cool. I mean, the artwork is really slick and cool, and if you like anime or manga artwork, it's definitely worth picking up just for that, because it's nice to see the DC characters reimagined in that kind of art style. My last book I'm going to go over is something that came out last week, and another book I cannot recommend enough is Scott Snyder's The Wake number 3. It's a limited series, 10-issue limited series, and it is a horror adventure story about mermaidish sea creatures, and it is scary, gory, and definitely not for younger readers. But if you want something different and you are familiar with Scott Snyder's writing from American Vampire, Batman, Superman Unchained, then this book is for you, because it's really good. It was a recommendation from the owner of my local comic shop, and when number 1 came out, he said, you know, if you're looking for something different, you should read The Wake. And I like Scott Snyder's writing. Everything I've read so far I thought was really, really good. So I took a gamble, picked up the first issue, loved it, picked up the second issue, loved it, loved this issue. So I'm going to give it a 2 thumbs up and recommend that to everybody to pick up. I don't know when you'll see a trade come out, if it'll wait till DC's going to wait till after all 10 issues are published, or if they're going to do one fairly soon for the first like 5 or something. I don't know. But I know that my local comic shop still has all 3 issues in stock, so chances are you can find them. And I definitely would recommend it. It's good stuff. The art is really spooky and cool and dark, and the writing is just spot on awesome. So that's it for the last 2 weeks of comics, and I'll post some links below to my Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram accounts, and be sure to follow me there, and head over to fanboyforce.blogspot.com to follow my blog with all my comic reviews and articles and movie reviews and other cool stuff there. So until next time, sayonara, true believers.